In the last chapter, we looked at individual traits, and now we're going to look at family and how that impacts delinquency. All major delinquency theories argue that family influences whether or not children engage in delinquency. Family is a place that can, in families, this has to do with the level of and reaction to strain. It's a place where you learn to conform or deviate. We can look at the control to which someone is subjected and the extent to which they're labeled. So, research on family has focused on four major areas: family structure, parental and sibling deviance, the quality of relationships, and parental socialization. For family structure, broken homes are argued by many to be a major cause of delinquency for a number of reasons. Strain due to the conflict associated with the breakup, less control because breakup disrupts emotional bonds and supervision, less exposure to conventional role models, and juveniles are more likely to be labeled delinquent. But a large percentage of juveniles now live in broken homes and are likely to suffer a range of problems. Data here is mixed. Some studies find no difference, and other studies, particularly those based on official data, find those from broken homes are more likely to engage in delinquency. Remember, official data is only data known to the police or crimes that are reported to the police, so it may be that those who are likely to come to the attention of the police are more likely to come from broken homes. So this is a small to moderate effect. Homes broken by divorce or separation have stronger association than those where the family has been disrupted by the death of a parent. We also want to think about, is it the broken home or is it the quality of the family relationships? So effects of broken homes are less than the effects of the behavior or attitudes of the family. If there are good relationships there, that's less likely to result in delinquency than an intact home with bad relationships. Mother's employment outside the home does not have any effect, but placing juveniles in child care facilities may contribute to a modest increase in aggression and problem behavior for some children. There's a morning to afternoon increase in cortisol, indicating children are experiencing strain. They may learn aggressive behaviors from others in the daycare or child care facility, and they're probably subject to less direct control, have a weaker bond to parents, and may be slower to develop internal control. Teenage motherhood has a moderate effect on delinquency. Teenage mothers are more likely to have larger families, be single parents, live in poverty, and require public assistance. Therefore, children of teenage mothers are more likely to experience factors conducive to delinquency: premature birth and low birth weight, abuse, neglect, and abandonment, and trouble in school. As far as teenage fatherhood goes, delinquents are much more likely to become teenage fathers than non-delinquents, and so it's likely that teenage fathers increase the likelihood of delinquency. Large family size has a small effect on delinquency. This is mostly due to less parental supervision, more strain, and therefore potentially more exposure to delinquent peers. What about your parents or your siblings' involvement in crime and delinquency? So both increase the likelihood of delinquency. For parents, they may be modeling aggressive behaviors. They're less likely to establish strong bonds with children, more likely to engage in abusive behaviors, and their children may be more likely to be viewed and treated as bad. They may also be passing on genetic traits conducive to delinquency. Siblings are exposed to similar family influences, and so delinquent siblings may socialize one another by providing models, reinforcement, and beliefs conducive to delinquency. Quality of family relationships. Do your parents have affection for or are they rejecting of children? Delinquency is lower when parents express love for their children, talking with them, expressing an interest in them, providing comfort and support. When parents reject or ignore their children, these are strong correlates of delinquency. When a child does have strong attachments with their parent, delinquency is lower. These attachments function as a form of control, and it makes it less likelihood that those kids will be influenced by delinquent peers, and they're less likely to find home a stressful place. Family conflict. Delinquency is lower in families with little conflict. That includes conflict between spouses, between siblings, and between parents and juveniles. And so conflict is more likely to produce delinquency because it weakens our bonds and it disrupts efforts to socialize children. It exposes children to aggressive models and increases the likelihood of association with delinquent peers. It also increases strain. In terms of child abuse specifically, early studies have some methodological problems, but more recent studies suggest that abuse increases the likelihood of delinquency by a moderate amount. And so while many people who are offenders may have been abused, most abused children do not become offenders. What about parent socialization? Parents need to teach children to not engage in delinquency, and we talked about some of this in a prior chapter. By providing clear rules for behavior, directly and indirectly monitoring behavior, consistently sanctioning it, and helping employ problem-solving techniques for resolving problems. Family disciplinary styles can increase the likelihood of delinquency. If supervision and discipline are lax, that increases delinquency. And also if parents punish frequently or threaten punishment but are ineffective and inconsistent. What we want to do is teach our children to engage in conventional behavior, teach intellectual, cognitive, and behavioral skills, model those skills, and provide opportunities for children to practice them. And when they successfully employ them, we want to reinforce that behavior. Parents need to provide emotional, informational, and instrumental support when children are facing problems that they cannot handle by themselves. So reviewing the impact of family on delinquency, it's important that important family variables are parental rejection of the child and parents' efforts to socialize the child. Delinquency is least likely when parents are warm and authoritative or warm and firm. Delinquency is most common when parents are warm and lax or cold and lax. Family variables are certainly important during childhood and early adolescence. And some parents employ poor parenting practice. This could be because they lack the traits for effective parenting, they lack the knowledge, they may have difficult children, and they may be experiencing stress and strain themselves.